snow and below freezing temperatures are moving into Colorado.
And we are under a Denver 7 weather action day as we track this storm and keep an eye on how much snow will fall in your neighborhood.
Coronavirus cases are dropping, so counties in the metro are ready to ditch masks.
It's time for us to begin to manage the sustained presence of this virus.
It's making some businesses decide whether or not to keep their mask policies in place.
We all want to create a safe place, and everybody has a different path to that.
And a Boulder County school is evacuated. What we're learning about why police were called to the school. We start this morning with new details about that school being evacuated. University Hill Elementary School in Boulder was on a secure lockout this morning because of a barricaded suspect in a nearby neighborhood. That school was then evacuated in its entirety. Air Tracker 7 flew over the scene. You can see police and SWAT teams outside the school. We want to show you a live picture of the school. Things are quiet now, but some neighborhoods are still under a shelter in place, and some fraternities and sororities at CU have been evacuated. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon is live at the district's education center where students are being reunited with their parents. Colette?
That's right, and Jason, University Hill has over 400 students. All of them have either already been picked up or are waiting to get picked up by their parents and guardians. This was actually a pretty active scene behind us when we got here earlier at 10, but it's really quieted down, meaning a lot of kids have already been picked up here today. Those with Boulder Valley say that everything has been running smoothly and parents were really quick to get here and get their kids. Those with the district also tell me this is a big reunification process for them, but they practice these things and even have staff keeping the kids entertained while waiting. School is canceled for the rest of the day. The plan is to be back in the classroom tomorrow, as long as the situation with police is over by that point, of course. The last bus from University Hill made it here around 9:30 this morning. Families are being asked to send out one person to come and pick up their kids and bring some identification. We talked with one father who says hearing kids are being evacuated is never comforting, and he couldn't help but think of the worst case scenario.
That I hope it's nothing, and it's not what the typical thing is that you hear on the news, because it's almost trendy. It happens regularly. Either schools or places of worship seem to be regular targets now, so it's concerning when you hear it as a parent. You have 2 kids in school.
Absolutely a very concerning thing to hear as a parent. He tells us he's taking his kids to go get ice cream right now. He also wanted to thank the district. He thinks the way they handled this really took the least amount of an emotional toll that it could have on his kids in particular. We have reached out to Boulder Police to learn more about what exactly caused all of this. We're waiting to hear back. Live in Boulder, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
Colette, thank you. And Boulder police tweeting out that this all started because they were trying to make contact with a man who was wanted for something. They just put out another update that they will not go into details about what this male individual is wanted for, but they are still investigating whether or not he is armed. We will continue to update you both on air and online on thedenverchannel.com. The other big story we're following at 11, snow. It's on the way. Live look from Lookout Mountain right now. Doesn't look like it now, but things are going to be changing in just a few hours. This map shows all the snow now moving our way. Some spots could pick up nearly a foot of snow when all is said and done, and then colder air, very cold air, moving in behind it. Let's bring in Katie LaSalle, who's tracking the snow on this weather action day. Hi, Katie.
Hey, Jason. Yep, it is on the way. Temperatures right now are in the high 20s, low 30s, but will continue to fall through the rest of the afternoon. Winds have shifted in from the north over the plains, and we are picking up some snow already in spots. You can see up near Estes Park and Allens Park, making its way just north of the border. We have a lot of watches and warnings in place with this storm system. Winter storm warnings just for the foothills up through Fort Collins. Winter weather advisories in place for the Denver metro area and east. Around 4 to 8 inches of snow set to accumulate, and then into the high country, even more, 7 to 14 inches possible. I'll show you those specific snow totals coming up. But the winds already ahead of this system. Holyoke seeing wind gusts around 10 to 15 miles per hour. It'll stay cloudy for the next couple of hours, but here's your future cast. You can see over the I-25 corridor more widespread snow for this evening. 8 o'clock tonight, it'll be heavier at times over the metro area, and then early tomorrow morning, it's going to be a cold one. The snow will gradually taper off through Thursday, but boy, will it be frigid. I'll talk you through the 7-day coming up.
All right, Katie, and you can track the upcoming snow all day yourself by downloading our free Denver 7 Plus app. We have interactive radar, a 10-day forecast, and a 24/7 weather live stream. You can find it on your Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, or Android device. Colorado's COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations are declining. The state reported about 2,600 cases yesterday. That's the lowest since mid-December. And because of that drop, several counties are ditching their mask mandates. Denver's mask mandate expires on Friday. Masks are still required in schools and in child care facilities. Adams and Arapahoe counties' mandates, they expire on Saturday, and Larimer County next weekend. Now keep in mind, individual businesses can still choose to require masks or proof of vaccination. Denver health officials say lifting the mask mandate will have little change on the COVID cases or hospitalizations in the metro, which have been steadily dropping. Public health experts say the mask or vaccine requirement had an impact in November, saying if those rules hadn't been in place then, hospital capacity could have been overwhelmed. And businesses tell us it's getting hard to keep count of how many times these tough decisions have fallen now, once again, on their shoulders.
Doing this for the first time, we're still kind of navigating our way through everything, not just the pandemic, but it would have been nice if it didn't fall always on the small business owner for these decisions to be made.
Sports and entertainment venues have to make mask decisions too. Ball Arena will keep the masks on for those ages 2 and up, and everyone 12 and older needs proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test. Proof of vaccine is also needed at the Denver Center for Performing Arts for anyone 5 and up. Plus, they tell us there are no plans to end their mask requirement. Jefferson County will discuss ending its mask order on Thursday. That's the same day Broomfield's mandate is scheduled to end. We haven't heard if that will be extended or just simply expire and go away. Boulder, Pitkin, and San Miguel are the only other counties with mask orders in place. Well, the U.S. may soon have a 4th COVID-19 vaccine. Novavax has asked the FDA to give emergency use authorization for its vaccine. Clinical trials show the shots are about 90% effective. If approved, the vaccine would be given in 2 doses, 3 weeks apart. The Louisville City Council will give an update on the private property debris removal process in the Marshall Fire burn zone tonight. The City Council also wants to temporarily waive building permit fees for the demolition of homes. It'll be discussed at a City Council meeting tonight, which is virtual. Leaders say they realize that many property owners are underinsured. If approved, the resolution would last until this summer. State senators will consider a proposal today that would reduce fire risk where woodland meets urban areas. Senate Bill 7 requires the State Forest Service to create a working group to focus on future wildfire awareness campaigns. Now in Washington, Congress is working through the Western Wildfire Support Act. Colorado Representative Joe Neguse introduced the legislation in the House last month. The proposed law has suggestions for wildfire prevention, suppression, and recovery. The Biden administration is also working on a 10-year strategy using funds from the infrastructure law. Well, Colorado's housing market isn't slowing down, and skyrocketing rent and home prices are impacting everybody. Denver 7's Christian Lopez looks at a service helping people look for an apartment.
Finding a place to live is already stressful enough, and you add in rising rent prices and low availability, and it can really be overwhelming. Apartment locator services like Aptamigo are there to help alleviate some of that stress. I spoke with someone who just moved to Denver from Wisconsin a couple of weeks ago. He told me he was overwhelmed when he was looking for a place to live because there wasn't much available and he couldn't seem to find anything to fit his budget. Someone told him about Aptamigo, an apartment locator service in Denver, and he was connected with an agent that listened to his needs and price range. So he was able to find a nice 1-bedroom apartment. The agent who helped him, Demetrio Martinez, says the Denver rental market usually slows down around the winter time, but this year it's been consistent because more people are moving to the city, and this is causing some challenges.
It's pretty difficult. Finding a good place in Denver can be really hard. Availability has been limited, especially with budgets right now. It's been hard for people to find good places.
He was able to get all the tours scheduled and just kind of walk me through all the places that really piqued my interest, and so eventually I landed on a good spot and for a price that was more than manageable for me.
Logan said he was planning on finding roommates to live with until Aptamigo was actually able to find him something he could afford on his own. A recent apartment list market report shows that the median cost for a 1-bedroom in Denver is around $1,500 a month, a 2-bedroom around $1,800. That's up around 17% compared to this time last year. Aptamigo also shared some tips and tricks when it comes to apartment hunting. You can find places that offer concessions, which is a rent credit for the first few months. If you find somewhere with free parking, these things can help you save money in the long run. Reporting in Denver, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Denver's Housing Authority can also help anyone struggling to find affordable housing. It has a portfolio of more than 12,000 units and helps about 40,000 people. There are income limits to qualify for assistance, though. You can learn more on the Denver Housing Authority's website. Colorado is getting $400 million from the American Rescue Plan for affordable housing. State lawmakers on the Housing Task Force came up with these recommendations to spend that money. It includes $150 million on a loan fund to develop and preserve affordable housing, another $150 million for grants to nonprofits and local governments for their housing ideas. Lawmakers are also looking at policy changes. They agree money alone won't solve this housing crisis. Well, one of the greatest NFL quarterbacks is ending his long career. What the Broncos are saying about Tom Brady's retirement.